At last, the days are longer and the hours are warmer. After a cold and unsettled start to the year, spring is finally here.
And it couldn't be more welcome in the season that signals life and birth.
A time to embrace new beginnings.
The perfect time to put a spring in your step.
Time to forget winter's cold and the rain and enjoy the spring countryside in all its glory.
All week, we're travelling the length and breadth of the UK.
You know, we talk about the summer of love, but this is the spring of love, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a really exciting time. Coming into breeding season.
Bringing the very best seasonal stories that matter to you.
All parts of bluebells can cause quite severe vomiting, diarrhea and abdominal pain in our pets.
Welcome to Countryfile Spring Diaries. Here's what we've got for you today. Steve's battling spring showers to discover how to cat-proof your gardens.
That doesn't bother me, that smell.
That's because you're not a cat.
Paul's on the firefighting front line, discovering why our spring hills could easily go up in flames.
You can just feel that, feel how dry and easy that.
Gosh, it's like paper.
Yeah.
And Teddy and I are finding out how your dog could help save the lives of other dogs.
We're here all week on the Malvern Hills, beautiful in springtime, especially after that soggy old winter that we've had. And as we're all out and about in lovely places like this, there is a danger that's underneath our noses which many of us don't even think about. Yet it's threatening our livelihoods and our homes, it's endangering wildlife, and it's costing millions and millions of pounds. What am I talking about? Fire, even at this time of year. And Paul is in Wales to find out more.
When you think of wildfires, you probably imagine a terrifying wall of flames sweeping through a tinder-dry country like Australia, Portugal or Spain. You wouldn't expect them to happen in the Rhondda Valley in South Wales, one of the wettest places in the UK.
But from March onwards, South Wales Fire and Rescue are on high alert, ready to battle nearly 1,000 wildfires, with the lion's share expected in spring. Today, I'm joining up to discover just what it takes to beat these blazes. Craig Hope's in charge.
Yeah, looks pretty good.
He's travelled to some of the world's most dangerous hotspots, like Australia, and is now pioneering new wildfire taming techniques here in the UK.
Craig, hi.
Oh, hi, Paul.
Why are there so many wildfires here?
We have a very large antisocial arson problem in the South Wales valleys. We don't really know why. We've done research, but it's inconclusive. But we are reducing the numbers of ignitions from 4,000 in 2010 to 1,000 last year. So the numbers are coming down. But then what that means is more vegetation on the mountains to burn. So these fires are then becoming larger.
It's now the landscape that's fast becoming Craig's biggest enemy. And it doesn't take much for it all to go up in flames.
It's the white grass, that is a classic Welsh mountain top white grass, very fine fuel. But you can just feel that, feel how dry and easy that would be.
It's like paper.
Yeah.
It's only recently the valleys have turned into a tinderbox. Sheep once roamed the hills among the old pit villages, and as nature's fire prevention officers, they created natural fire breaks with their meandering sheep tracks, and their grazing tamed the bracken, whitegrass and scrub. But when they disappeared from the valleys, the vegetation took over, creating one big fire risk.
So what are we doing here today?
This is a simulation today, some training for the crews. We're now moving into our wildfire season, so we want to make sure the crews are fully understanding of what their role is and how to use the tools. First of all, we're going to demonstrate a wildfire, how a wildfire can easily jump across these narrow paths that are on these mountains.
For this training exercise, Craig's using straw, which is just like that bone-dry white grass here on the hills. I want to see how far and how fast a wildfire can spread. Just got to light it now.
There you go. Right, now you...
Dip that in there.
Yeah, gently hold it down. And now walk along the edge there, dripping a few out. That's it. And you can see how hot that is.
I can feel it on my
There's a lot
face
of
now.
heat.
It's not just the heat. Within seconds, this fire has taken hold, galloping across the training area. Even on a cloudy day like today, when there's not much wind.
You could see in this white, very fine grass, you could see how fast the fire would move.
It's even leapt across a small path, created for this exercise.
And if this had been a real situation, this would now be a landscape fire.
Yeah, and out of control.
And out of control. So what I'm going to show you now is how we stop these fires.
Craig's pioneering a technique known as back-burning.
But you were going to stop the fire jumping this time.
OK.
The idea is that fire fights fire. As the flames rush towards each other and literally take the heat out of the situation as they consume each other. Clever stuff.
Very basic principles, but by using these techniques, we can save ourselves so much work.
Yeah. Fire putting out fire.
Fire, fighting fire with fire. It's another tool in our toolbox. It's something else we can use.
While Craig's team makes sure the fire is safely out, it's back into Civis for us as we're off to look at a typical hillside community here in the Rhondda Valley. As the bracken and the white grass claim the hills, residents here live with the constant threat of wildfire, which makes this part of South Wales not much different to places like Australia. Down under, wildfires have claimed hundreds of lives, thousands of homes, and hundreds of thousands of acres of land. Could the same thing happen here?
How close has a fire got to residents here?
Oh, very close. We've put fires out in people's back gardens.
Yeah, literally feet away.
Yes, yeah, very close.
The best solution here in the Rhondda Valley is prevention. Craig and his team are doing what the sheep once did, creating fire breaks across the landscape.
We've cut a fire break. You can just about see the green.
Oh, I can
We've
see that green line.
Yeah, what we would have liked to done to this site is just break it up. We burn narrow strips across the landscape to stop these large fires, and it gives us somewhere to work off them when we have a wildfire.
That's a pretty landscape, but at the same time, it's vulnerable and it's dangerous.
Yes.
Hopefully the residents here can sleep a little easier knowing the fire service has their backs. But the irony is that the plants which are creating the fire risk are a haven for wildlife. Creatures here might thrive,
Hi, Paul.
but they too are at risk. I'm meeting Becky Davis, Biodiversity Officer for Natural Resources Wales.
What wildlife is in danger from these fires?
So there are a number of key species of butterfly which particularly love this sort of shallow sort of layer of bracken, which are fantastic for reptiles as well.
Sure.
It's also, that's fantastic for birds.
Nest building?
Yes, nest buildings. So whin chats, linnets and stone chats love this sort of thing.
Wildfires have exacted a heavy toll here in South Wales. Just a few years ago, hundreds of birds and animals were killed in a wildfire nearby.
I think we found about 85 nests which were burnt. That's going to be a fraction of the reality of it because the nests go up so quickly, but that's what we found. So there was a real sort of impact to the local biodiversity there.
So those invasive plants, particularly bracken, need taming.
Every time there's a fire, it kills off all the other plants around it. The bracken has a really deep root system and it goes really far. So all the other plants around it get killed off, but then the bracken stays alive. So then you have this cycle of fire, then the bracken is the only thing grows back. So you get this deeper and deeper leaf litter sort of area. And it just creates more fire risk every single time, every fire.
So what is the ideal way of managing the land?
Ideally, we'd have cattle and or horses.
Okay.
So we want that cattle in there that churn up the area with their heavy mass, but also the way they eat, they sort of use their tongues and rip out bits. So you get this uneven sward, which creates a diversity of structure, which is fantastic for biodiversity.
We can all do our bit alongside pioneers like Becky and Craig to help safeguard lives and wildlife wherever and whenever we visit our wonderful countryside. Don't leave glass bottles anywhere. They're like magnifying glasses and can easily spark a fire. Check if you can use portable barbecues. If you can, never leave them unattended. And finally, keep your wits about you, and if you see anything suspicious or see a fire, call 999 immediately.
I really had no idea how ferocious and common these wildfires are. But if we all work together, hopefully we can stamp them out and save the wildlife and human lives.
And here on the Malverns, they've had their fair share of wildfires too. But 17 years ago, sheep and cattle were reintroduced to graze the hills, and they're proving to be great fire wardens. On a gorgeous spring day, if you're not out in the countryside, I bet you're enjoying your garden. Well, trying to. Much as we love our cats, and there are 10 million of them in the UK, they can wreak havoc in our gardens. Steve is in a beautiful garden in Kent, where, incidentally, it's raining cats and dogs, to find out how we can persuade these mischief makers to stay away.
Forget slugs. From scorching your plants, using your garden as a public lavatory and pouncing on birds, cats are not exactly a gardener's best friend. It's thought as many as 400 furtive felines can be on the prowl in just under half a square mile, as gardener Liz is starting to discover. Liz knows all about the devastating damage cats can do here in her garden in Kent. It's her pride and joy, and she loves nothing more than seeing the visiting birds. But now they've vanished. Cats lie in ambush, ready to pounce. They might not be quite so keen today in all this rain, but Liz and I are made of sterner stuff. It might not be the most beautiful of days, but it's a very beautiful garden. Do you have many different birds here?
Yes, though not so much recently. And I'm not quite sure why, because I have plenty of feeders around. But somebody suggested to me that it might be cats.
How many cats do you have in the garden?
Well, we've always had cats wandering about, but I've noticed two particularly recently that nestle in well under that conifer.
Have you done anything to try and cat-proof the garden?
Not really.
No. Well, that's just
I need you to tell me.
Exactly. You're not the cat expert, and that's why we're here, to get this garden as cat-free as possible. Try and get your birds back. How's that sound?
Sounds wonderful.
OK. While Liz holds up inside, Guy Barter, Chief Advisor for the Royal Horticultural Society,
I brought the weather with me,
is here to show us there's more than one way to skin a cat.
This is catty paradise. It's got trees, it's got cover, it's got hedges, it's got shed roofs. You've got to remember that cats like to hunt at dusk and dawn, so they'll wander along the hedges and through the undergrowth of this lovely, beautifully planted garden. A cat would regard this as the best possible environment, much better than a concrete yard or a little back garden.
And what can you do to stop the cats coming into your garden?
Well, full disclosure here, Steve, I'm a cat lover and I've got a couple of cats, and I feel people should welcome cats into their garden. But I accept that not everyone shares my view on cats. So what you can do is, it's impossible to fence your garden against cats because they're incredible climbers and jumpers, but you can try a few simple tricks in the first instance that don't cost too much.
Well, let's give it a go then, shall we?
Let's try.
Lemon and orange peel could be perfect. Apparently, cats don't fancy the smell. If you put holly where you think they're using as their loo, it should prick more than their curiosity. String up something shiny like some old CDs. Should that do the job, Guy, do you think? The reflection might make them think there's some bigger boys out there eyeing them up as a snack. And then there are plants which should make them scarper. Tell me about this bad boy then, Guy.
That's Coleus canina, sold under the name of scaredy cat. You can put them around your garden and cats will find somewhere else to go.
That doesn't bother me, that smell.
Well, that's because you're not a cat.
Some people swear by lion poo from the nearest zoo, but the jury's out on whether or not the pong of big cats will scare little cats. Others say toy rubber snakes do the trick. Or you could buy one of those fancy ultrasonic cat repellents on the market. But up to 130 quid, they can burn a hole in your pocket.
I'm not saying every cat will be deterred by these measures because they're very individualistic, and some of the more bold and proud ones would just take no notice, but some of the more timid ones will make themselves scarce.
Another idea is to keep your soil wet. Obviously, that's not a problem today. Cats don't like it, and I've had enough of the rain too, so it's time to head indoors to join Liz.
Well, of course, massive thank you, Guy, and hopefully it all works for you, Liz.
It's been most interesting to hear various ideas for deterring cats from frightening the birds, and I'm absolutely amazed that you can all work in this terrible weather.
But Professor Mark Fellows, who's done extensive surveys on these pets with catitude, reckons we could be onto a losing battle.
I think if we could control cats, life would be much simpler. Anybody who owns a cat knows that once they go out, they're free spirits. They run their own lives. And so the idea of being able to control where a cat goes is pretty tricky.
Mark's research reveals that the average cat territory is the size of 2 football pitches. But some can happily stalk 11, and that's a lot of gardens with a lot for our cats to help themselves to.
In our work, we found that cats kill something in the region of 190 million prey items a year. So the majority of those are small mammals, so about 40% are wood mice. And this is in an urban area, so it's not a hugely biodiverse area. They kill on average probably just under 1 million birds in the UK a week. Cats. If you think of it, there's 11 million cats.
1 million
that's
birds a week? 52 million birds a year?
It's an enormous number. So the birds that we see in gardens are the ones that can cope with the presence of cats. Blackbirds are here, robins, dunnocks, they're in every garden. Cats are around, they manage to coexist.
So what can a cat owner do to help?
If your cat's a predator and you care about this and you care about the welfare of the things they're feeding on, try and restrict when they go out. So don't prevent their access to the outdoors, but perhaps don't let them out at dawn and dusk, which is major hunting times. The second is, please put a collar on your cat, ideally with a bell or one of these brightly coloured ones. Cats are ambush predators, so they're sitting in bushes and they're waiting or they're prowling along by the edges of hedgerows. But if anything makes them more visible or audible, that's going to really help. They do work and they reduce the success rate.
Now, some countries have really taken getting cats out of areas to the extreme, haven't they?
Certainly in other countries, they see cats as much more of a threat. So Australia, New Zealand, also the United States and Canada, where cats haven't been around so long. In Australia, there are areas where, in new housing developments and so on, where you're not allowed to own cats. They're actually banned. So if you buy a house, part of the deal you sign is that you're not allowed to bring cats in, simply because, of course, the species that are there are naive, they haven't come across cats before, and there's a real risk there in terms of conservation.
Can't see a cat ban going down too well over here. Like all our pets, we just love them too much, but hopefully you've got plenty of ideas to make a positive difference to your garden.
With more daylight hours, now's the time for us to give ourselves a good physical spring clean to get back into action out of doors. Here on the Malvern Hills, special waymarked trails have just been introduced for mountain bikers. But if pedal power's not your thing, here are our 5 top suggestions for some of the best challenging walks in the UK. You could copy Adam and hike up Britain's highest mountain, Ben Nevis, in the Scottish Grampians. Its name means the mountain with its head in the clouds, or venomous mountain. Which I think is how Adam felt about it. But then he did try the toughest of the 2 main routes up was once a massive volcano. Maybe he'd have been better trying the more user-friendly path, trod by most of the mountain's annual 125,000 walkers. Gentler treks beckon in Devon, on Dartmoor. Wonderful footpaths crisscross 368 square miles of moors and woodland in the heart of southwest England. Tough, hardy and sure-footed Dartmoor ponies have roamed this landscape for more than 3,000 years. The Pennine Way is one of our most famous long-distance paths, stretching 268 miles from the Peak District to the Scottish borders. One of my favourite spots is High Cup Nick on the Cumbria and County Durham border, a geological miracle of dolerite crags overlooking the best glaciated valley in northern England. And Harry Potter fans will be sure to recognise Malham Cove on the North Yorkshire stretch of the Pennine Way. Step along the giant limestone pavement and marvel at the natural amphitheatre. The old slate quarries in North Wales are a climber's paradise. Otherwise, stick to footpaths, which wind their way to the remnants of an industrial age when the quarries were once the biggest in the world. You'll see mountain goats, peregrines swooping in the skies, and of course, there are magnificent views across Snowdonia. And finally, in Northern Ireland, there's little to beat the Sperrins, a breathtaking range of undulating hills and mountains, spanning 40 miles across the borders of County Tyrone and Derry. The largest in Ireland, they're wild, untouched, and utterly beautiful. At this time of year, and particularly after the cold spells we've been having, wildlife orphans can really struggle. In fact, life can hang in the balance. In the second of our special reports, Margarita is with the Wildlife Rescue Squad in North Somerset. She's busy getting lunch together for two rather special young residents.
Sausages, peanut butter sandwiches, and just a little sprinkle of fruitcake as a treat. That's what's on the menu today for two little chaps here who wouldn't have stood a chance of survival if it hadn't been for the love and the care of the staff here. And I'm off to meet them. Badger cubs Fred and George are just 8 weeks old. They were found on Dartmoor in a very distressed condition. Mum was nowhere to be seen. But since they arrived here, animal carer Katie has stepped in as foster mum.
Fred was found first. He'd been crying all night outside of the set. Very, very cold, dehydrated, and covered in parasites. And he's been very, very poorly since we've had him in. George was found the next day in the same scenario. He's been a lot better, and he's been good company for Fred. And I think the two of them being together has actually helped them recover. And they're doing very, very well now. It is very easy to get attached to them, as you can see, and we do put in a lot of love and care, but that's one of the positives of the job role.
Like any youngsters, these boys just love their toys.
Just watching them learn to play is really exciting. The way that they pull the toilet rolls around the room and the toys and how they play with each other. They quite often scare themselves, and you know, it's all a learning curve for them, so it's quite comical to watch them playing with each other and learning.
Adorable, aren't they? And here comes lunch. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
I have prepared a little bit of a treat, a favourite, I believe, for Fred and George.
It has proved a winner, yes, over many, many years. I mean, primarily in the wild, they would be eating earthworms along berries and those kinds of things. So we've got a lot of this kind of represented in this tray here. We've got a little bit of chicken, a little bit of sausage, and the dog food. It's got lots of nutrients in it, so it makes up for what we miss from the wild. And we put a little sprinkling of fruit cake on there that represents blackberries or wild strawberries in the jam here. And they are partial to peanut butter as well.
Peanut butter? What is that linked to? What is that just... Well, they're obviously doing well on it.
That's right, yes.
It was badgers just like Fred and George who inspired Secret World founder Pauline Kidner to start her wildlife rescue centre just over 25 years ago.
In 1989, I had 3 orphan badger cubs brought into me. And I suppose because we were ex-dairy farmers and with badgers coming in, one of the things that I really wanted to do was to do rehabilitation of badgers properly. But they were my first badgers in the kitchen. I had Bluebell, who was a little girl, Primrose, and a little boy called Willow. And I had the pleasure of taking them out for walks because that's what happened with cubs, they follow mother's feet. We then built them an artificial set and they had the freedom to come and go, and Blue decided to stay with us all the way through her life, and indeed went on to have cubs as well, which was really exciting. In your lifetime, you usually have one animal that is particularly special, and she was certainly that one for me.
From just a trio of Brocks, the Animal Rescue Squad here now treats over 70 badgers a year, which each cost £1,500 to look after. But not everyone loves badgers, among them some of the farming community. Controversy rages over how far badgers may be responsible for TB in cattle. In the last 9 years, more than 250,000 cattle have been culled in England alone, at a cost of around £34,000 per farm.
I wanted to know as much as I could about TB. So I started a protocol, even right back in 1993, of actually testing our badgers. Whenever we did have one that was positive, we would put that one to sleep. And I can't walk into a room of farmers that have to put their cattle down because they have TB if I don't do the same with my black and white things.
And that means there could be a death sentence hanging over Fred and George. They're about to be tested for TB. Katie's brought her 2 little charges to vet Heidi. If the tests are negative, they can live. Positive, and there's only one outcome.
I believe by law and under our protocol they would have to be euthanized.
Oh, you're being such a good boy.
Which is really, really difficult for us all because we've put so much time and effort and love into the rearing process.
An anxious wait lies ahead. Every year, more than 30 fox cubs arrive here, and they don't get much smaller than 2-week-old Miriam, who was found hungry and crying in a garden.
You get really attached.
There she is.
Fox are really similar to puppies. You know, you see the puppies kind of like playing habits that, you know, normal dogs will have.
Miriam needs round-the-clock care, so carer Jade takes her home to feed her. And when it comes to fox cubs, that really is a labour of love.
They have a distinctive smell. When you go for a walk, you can definitely smell if there's a fox den around. They stink since they're little. When they're on milk, it's not so bad, but when we start to get them on meat, which she will be in a couple of days, the smells get like proper rank, and you know, and it's why it goes in your clothes and it goes, you know, in your curtains. So it's difficult to get rid of.
Well, smelly or not, Miriam's a little fighter, which means her chances of survival are really good. Soon she'll be joining other fox cubs, but she won't be strong enough until the autumn to be let out and released into the wild. Spring is the busiest time of year here. Lots of new arrivals, and nearly half of them are orphans. In the emergency room, there's just been a casualty that's come in, a baby badger found on the side of the road that could so easily have been run over. Rehabilitation section leader Sarah is with Pauline, ready to do what it takes to give this cub a fighting chance.
See what her gums and teeth are like, see if she's dehydrated. They're quite pink, so she's not too dehydrated. She's absolutely infested with fleas, like oh my goodness. So again, that's a sign that she has actually been left. She's covered in this many fleas. Any animal in poor health is riddled with parasites. It's just because they're not in good health, they're not in good care. You can see there that they're just absolutely crawling off of her.
It's thought this new arrival, now named Fleur, has a sister here, as one was found yesterday in exactly the same spot.
If ideally we can reunite them with mum, then we will. It saves us work and it's ultimately better for the badger as well. She's definitely had a lucky escape. It was lucky she was found. You know, if she went unnoticed, then, you know, it's sad to think what would happen. But yeah, she's been found and she's in good care now.
Just like many a casualty patient, Fleur will need rehydrating fluids to restore her health. And now Sarah can reunite her with her sister.
It's always been animals for me, and it's always been the intent of working with wildlife. You know, ever since I was a small child, it's always been my fascination.
For now, Fleur will need lots of human attention. But this group of 6-week-old fox cubs must learn to do without. Contact with carers gets less and less as they start to fend for themselves before they can be released in a few months' time. And they've got something of a reputation to deal with.
Some people might think they're a pest, but I absolutely disagree with that, as they're part of, the English natural environment, so they are absolutely critical to, like, for example, maintaining numbers of rabbits. They hunt on rodents, rats and small mice, so especially when they're juvenile, this age, and until they're like a year old, they're hunting on those species, which, it helps us to, keep those numbers in place. So, yeah, they're not best.
These cubs will definitely go wild, but it might not be such a good outcome for Fred and George. After their recent TB test, their little lives hang in the balance. Katie's just got the results. Katie, I'm feeling a little nervous. I can't imagine how you're feeling. What's the news?
It's good
Tell
news.
me.
It is
good news.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So relieved.
I am really happy, yeah.
And it must be quite an anxious time when you're just waiting to know, yep, the boys are going to be all right.
I was optimistic, but, you do have the element of nervousness, especially with them being poorly in the beginning. But I'm happy now.
I'm so happy as well. So, great news there. Come the autumn, those 2 adorable little chaps can be safely released where they belong.
And Margarita will be back again tomorrow with her final report on wildlife waifs and strays, including one of our most endangered animals. It's no wonder countryside as beautiful as this has inspired writers and poets, and in the case of the Malverns, of course, the composer Edward Elgar. A little while ago...
Come on, team, here we go.
And go!
Oh, let's find out. Who's going to be the winner? Oh, it was you!
There it is!
Well, we can't blame Matt for muscling in there, can we? Because you can't beat a good game of post-ticks. Now, as a nation, we love our dogs. We've got 8.5 million of them. And it can be heartbreaking if your dog becomes seriously ill and difficult decisions have to be made. Now, Jules and his dog Teddy are just up the road from here, meeting some rather special lifesavers in a remarkable project that's the only one of its type in the country. Maybe Teddy can lend a helping paw.
From surgery to sepsis, hemorrhage, anemia, rat poisoning, tumours, ulcers, you name it, every year thousands of dogs need emergency surgery. But blood transfusions can make the difference between life and death. And as in a busy hospital A&E, our vets need and rely upon blood donations. So little does he know it, but Teddy has just volunteered to do his bit.
We're here in Stourbridge to see if Teddy fits the bill as a blood donor. Today's clinic is one of 5 which the Pet Blood Bank operates every week in Britain. It's a charity and it's a lifeline. And vet Lara Howe is waiting to meet her latest volunteer.
Hello, Laura. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
This is Teddy.
Nice to meet you.
Good boy, Ted. Do you want to weigh him?
Yes, please. Let's pop him on the scales now.
Go on you go. Where are we?
35. That's great. Well done.
Hey, good boy.
Good boy. Come on, then.
Well, Teddy's over the first hurdle, as donors must weigh over 25 kilos.
Now, I have to confess, Laura, I was blissfully unaware, even though I've owned dogs for years, of the need for doggy blood donors.
Yeah.
I mean, how high is demand?
Yeah, really massive demand for dog blood. Dogs that have had operations that need blood. Also for dogs that have injuries, they might have lost a lot of blood in a road traffic accident, that sort of thing. Increasingly for dogs that have got illnesses whereby they're destroying their own blood cells.
And in terms of blood type, do you categorise it in the same way as human blood, say?
There are different blood types for dogs. In this country, we particularly look at whether they're negative or positive to something called DEA1. And about 70% of dogs in this country are of positive blood type, so only 30% are negative. So it means that the demand for the negative is really high because we don't have as many donors that are able to produce or give that blood.
Breeds more likely to have that rarer blood type are boxers, border collies, Dobermans, flat-coated retrievers, greyhounds and German shepherds. That rules out Teddy, but he could still cut the mustard.
He's been vaccinated in the last year. He has preventative flea, tick and worm treatment.
So far, so good. But Lara's spotted a lump on Teddy's ear, which my vet believes is benign. Will this throw a spanner in the works?
Really for his own safety, because we don't know exactly what it is. I think the best thing to do is just not actually take a blood donation.
Teddy, I feel a bit heartbroken, so he can't donate today?
No, not today. It's probably better that he doesn't, just in case he were to need any further investigation or any surgery on that in the next few weeks.
Right.
Poor old Teddy, but at least he tried. And he gets a present for wanting to volunteer. But in the donation room, there's a veteran donor, Ella, who's doing her bit. She belongs to vet Rachel.
I've arrived at that crucial moment. She looks very chilled out.
She is. She's done it before and she falls asleep on the table.
Does she?
She does, yes.
How many times has she donated in the past now?
This will be her third time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
A dog can donate blood 6 times a year.
There it goes.
Enough to save 24 lives.
She's absolutely out for the count, isn't she?
I'm surprised at how straightforward and easy the procedure is.
Well done.
Cool as a cucumber. And there we are. That's a unit of canine blood.
It is indeed.
Ready to go into the bank.
Yep.
20 donor dogs are expected through the doors today and will give enough blood to save 80 lives. It's the first time for Judith and her greyhound, Willow.
How did you hear about it?
I was out for a walk with Willow. Just got chatting to a lady whose dog donates. Said, actually, greyhounds are really good. Yeah. Would I be interested? And why didn't I look into it? So I did.
Greyhounds make great donors, as they're likely to have the rarer negative blood type.
Did Willow seem bothered by it at all?
No, she lay down and completely relaxed. I thought she might even go to sleep at one point.
All the blood given here today will go to Loughborough HQ, where it will be stored, ready to be dispatched to emergencies all over the country 24/7. One dog who owes his life to this service is Baggins, a Cocker Spaniel who suffers from haemophilia, which means his blood doesn't clot properly.
Hello, Wendy.
Hello.
Hello, mate. How are you? Now, if I bought one of these for Teddy, people would think I was spoiling him. But for Baggins, clearly, it's an essential way of getting around these days.
Absolutely, yeah. From the second day we had him, he started limping every other Sunday. Without fail, he limped, pains in his chest, horrendous, not just crying, but screaming in pain. And it wasn't until he cracked a tooth and I woke up and his bed was just blood, and then we took him to the vet and they fixed it, sent his blood off, came back as haemophilia A factor 8.
Wow, as bad as it gets.
Yeah, as bad as it gets. Life without Baggins, well, I can't even think about that.
Vets told Wendy that Baggins wouldn't live long, but thanks to the blood bank, he's still here, 5 years on.
Blood transfusion is a day-to-day fact of life for Baggins, isn't it?
It is. Without that, Baggins wouldn't be here. People take their dogs to give blood. We love them. Absolutely love them.
So here's a reminder of how your dog can help save lives. The Pet Blood Bank needs fit and healthy donors with a good temperament. They must weigh over 25 kilos, be between 1 and 8 years old, be up to date with vaccinations, not be taking any medication, and must never have travelled abroad.
Well, I found today as enlightening as it has been inspiring. And it's a timely reminder of what we can all do to help our four-legged friends, isn't it?
Certainly is, Jules. A great project there. And I'm glad to say that, as it turned out, there was nothing wrong with Teddy's ear. And that was our final entry in today's Spring Diaries. Here's what we've got for you tomorrow. Keely is a guinea pig for pioneering ambulance crews in the remote Scottish Highlands.
Do you think that this equipment will help save lives?
It could save lives, yeah, it could save lives, definitely.
Paul's showing us how to give our struggling native wildlife a helping hand.
It's all about increasing the insect population. That's the one thing that keeps the rest of the cycle going.
And I'm in the North Yorkshire Dales to find out how villagers are battling sky-high property prices.
So, until then, goodbye.